Hey there, it's Jen, and I'm here with a process video for Elle's studio using the November kit. I wanted to show you, in the November kit, there's a lot of things that you can use for December because we're all getting ready for documenting our Decembers, right? But there are also a bunch of stuff, there's a bunch of stuff that you can use for everyday kind of stuff and for Thanksgiving kind of stuff. So I just wanted to show you, these are the holiday cards in the kit and the holiday die cuts and stuff, but I've gone through and picked out some of the cards that aren't holiday related and some of the die cuts that aren't holiday related. And I'm also going to be pairing it with the Giving Thanks stickers and maybe some stamping and maybe some of these little flag stickers as well to tell this story about my grandma. This is my abuela. She comes for Thanksgiving every year and she came a little bit early this year. So I just wanted to talk about how grateful I am that she's been able to do that most of my life to come out. This might be her last year, we'll see, but this is a 5x7 photo and my plan is to just use a white sheet of cardstock and I want to layer up these cards on the side of my page because I love a lot of these cards and I want to show them off, and I think that it would be a fun way to kind of use these up. And admittedly, Jill Sprout always layers up the cards in an interesting way that it'll be more interesting than what I've done here, I'm sure, but I kind of wanted to try something like that. And so that is my plan, and I'll be pulling from these various things. I pulled these colors, just happened to work perfectly with the shirt that I'm wearing in the photo, so I'm happy about that. And I'm going to go ahead and get started now.
Alright, so I'm going to start by evening up the border that's on my 5x7 photo, and then I'm going to layer up these 3x4 cards in a way that I think looks good, and I kind of want them to look like they're kind of laying there, but I still want to have the intention. So at the top, I'm trying to decide if I want to put something over. There's a little part on that top card that says something that I want to cover, and I was trying to decide if I should cover it with just the card below it or if I could use an embellishment to cover it so I could show more of the card, but I just decided to use the card below it to cover it. So now I'm just kind of lifting up and putting down these cards, and I'm going to slide my photo in there so it looks like it's tucked in there but just poking out kind of. And I'm going to start playing right away. So I know I want to use Giving Thanks for my title, and I'm going to do Giving Thanks for Abuelita, which is my grandma. I had somebody ask me what Abuelita meant, so that's little grandma in Spanish. Abuela is grandma. So that's my mom's mom, and she is Cuban. So I'm using the little Stanley alphabet. Is it Mini Stanley? I can't remember what it's called. I will have it linked though. And I'm using that to stamp for Abuelita. And I'm just using a really old Moonstruck colored ink pad from Close to My Heart, but I'll link to another one that's similar that you could use for that nice blue color. Now, if you just screamed because I cut my stamp, it's okay, I promise. So there's a stamp that had some arrows on it and some dots, and I just wanted the arrows, so I just cut the arrows away from it. I can always put those back on the stamp on an ink or on a stamping block together if I want to stamp it all together, but I'm okay with cutting stamps up sometimes. So I was trying to fill in the space around the words for Abuelita because there was going to be some empty space below the words Giving Thanks, and I didn't want it to be empty, so that's why I did that. So here I'm using my tiny little mechanical pencil. Isn't that the cutest thing you've ever seen? I don't know where that's from. My friend CJ gave it to me, but it's really cute. And I'm using that to draw some lines on this circle card at the bottom because that's where I'm going to put my journaling. And I want it to be straight. And I think journaling inside of a circle is going to be hard for me to get straight. So I drew all the lines, and I'll erase them when I'm done. So I'm just using a pen now to write my journaling, and I made the lines fairly close together because I knew I had a lot I wanted to say. And I'm just talking about how my grandma comes every year around Thanksgiving. She came a little early this year, and she brought my Aunt Helen and my cousin Cordelia with her, and that every time she comes she brings something that she made for me, and this time she brought everyone tissue box covers. And if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen that. So that's what I was journaling there, and then you saw I erased the lines. So now what I'm going to do is kind of play around with embellishing within all of these layers. So I want to tuck things, I want to add things in the spaces, there is a little speech bubble next to the word giving thanks on that card, and I want to stamp the date in there. And there's a little die cut that came in this month's kit that says today, and so I popped that up, and now I'm looking up the date that this photo was taken, which is November 2nd, and I'm going to stamp the date right next to it. And I like the tone on tone of the today. It's a little darker than the card, and so I think it works nicely. So I'm just playing around with some of the die cuts. That little circle that I just placed at the bottom is actually punched from one of the 3x4 cards. And I punched some of them for my gallery layout this month, of the layout I created for, I don't have a video for it, but I created it for Elle Studio using the kit this month. And so I'm just using some leftovers from that 3x4 card that has all the circles on it. And I'm also using some of the puffy stickers and some of the die cuts, and now I'm going to stamp. So I didn't want this whole stamp because it says currently wishing for, but I just wanted the currently, so I just inked up those words and stamped them on the blue, and then I put a gray sticker on the gray, and I'm trying to just see where I can stick stuff in. I'm going to put that ampersand there. I'm just trying to get a nice like even distribution of color. And so I'm trying to work that blue little die cut in, and I decide to have it poking out from the left hand side. So I will eventually place that there. And I'm also trying to space around that heaviness of the black and all of the different colors. I'm just trying to make sure that they're all around. So I'm thinking I need something else poking out to the side if I have one thing. So I put another gray one at the top that says, I think it says this and that. And I like the way that looks. And I'm thinking maybe one more thing poking out to the right would be nice, but I don't ever find anything. So I'm okay with just the two poking out on the left-hand side. So I'm using some Ali Edwards Columbia ink to stamp just the row of dots below those houses, and it's the larger dots. So there's 3 rows of small dots and a row of larger dots. So I'm inking up 2 rows of the smaller dots in black, and I stamped that below currently. And then the 1 row of larger dots I stamped below the houses. So now I'm thinking of what I can add to the right-hand side of my title just to kind of balance everything that's over on the left. I just want a little bit on the right. And so I'm going to put a couple of circles. That black heart circle is a puffy sticker. And then there's a little circle that says joy, and that's punched out from that 3x4 card that I mentioned earlier. And then I'm going to put this star down, and I'm just using some thin foam adhesive from Close to My Heart. And then I'm going to add a few more things here in a minute, but you might be screaming right now as I do this because I am dumping black paint splatters onto my layout. And I just felt like it needed something more. And so I just decided to spray those. And you can't really tell in the video, I don't think, but the ink inside, this is an old Studio Calico ink. It's very thick. So I'm trying to mop some of it up with this wipe that I have, and it's just like, I don't know, it's like thick like blood almost, which sounds gross, but it's that consistency. It's very, the viscosity, you know, it was thick. So I'm just kind of dabbing it up a little bit and trying to figure out how I can salvage it. And I don't mind the messiness of it. I kind of like it. But if that scares you, don't do that part because some of you may be crying right now that I've added that, but I'm okay with it. So I'm just adding a few of the hearts and the little circles that are on this sticker sheet, just kind of scattering them around like I would enamel dots or something like that. And I love the puffy hearts and little dots. They are perfect to just scatter in and add another texture or dimension amongst my layers. So I'm pretty much going to stop where it is now. I decided that I wanted to stamp one more thing, so I'm grabbing this stamp set that came out recently, and I'm going to stamp the words notes from this day in black above and below my photo, just to add a little bit more messiness to that part of the layout. And then as a last final touch, I decided that it would be nice to have another texture. Because I didn't use my sewing machine, which I should have, I decided to add staples. So I'm just stapling a bunch of things down where I can reach, and that is going to complete my layout. Here are some close-up photos. I hope that you enjoyed. I will link to all available products in the video description below, and head over to shopellestudio.com/blog to check out more. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.